Jaipur was founded as a city of craftspeople. It was founded as a city, it was India's first planned city, I think, of the last so many thousand years. Started in 1726 and planned to enhance the state of Jaipur, the royal state of Jaipur, by inviting craftspeople, makers of goods from all over India, so that to enhance the position of commerce and trade out of Jaipur. So craft has been what the city has been founded on.
There's such a wealth of craft within India anyway. You see examples of craft having been in other cultures, and it's died out. It's no longer available to the mainstream. I think within India still people have access to craft. Amazing things are done with craft. It's part of people's real identity, their communities that they come from. Has different meanings to them as well as being decorative, but craft has very many implications, very many stories behind it.
Even today it's a living tradition. If we can keep the essence of it alive, maybe we can carry it forward in this century also. It not only generates employment, but it also gives livelihood to lots of people.
Jaipur Virasat Foundation, we registered in the year 2002, and we registered it because there's a lot of support for India to become modern, but there's not much support to take tradition into the modern space. And how do you take the traditional skills, traditional arts, traditional crafts into the modern space? You have to infuse them with life which is relevant to today. You know, you won't go on reproducing a particular skill or a particular type of craft if it has no relevance for today.
When Faith came out to India, she could see that block printing was dying out. It really needed to be brought into a more modern context, something that could work not just within the village. It really wasn't being appreciated anymore. Nobody really understood why bother doing block printing.
My background was block printing. My learning of India was through falling in love with the local textiles when I came to Jaipur and married, and then starting to work with them as a means of livelihood, and then discovering that the more you worked with them, the more you discovered there was to learn, and it was just like an endless resource. And through that interest and through that process of bringing them into a contemporary context, like whether it's table linen or bed linen or what we wear or whatever, we were able to spearhead a whole revival of block printing as a skill and as a means of livelihood.
We need to create an awareness about the fact that hand block printing is hand block printing. It is something which is done by hand. It has the value of many people having worked at different stages to produce a material and to keep this craft alive. Just like you have a painting in your house and you have a dress which is handmade, which you really treasure.
If all your livelihood is related to the IT sector, call centers, high industry, office, what happens to people who haven't yet had a chance to get that education? So our crafts and our traditional knowledge is a way of including many more people in India's growth. And, then once I stopped working with Anoki and my next generation took over, then I saw that this is, we've sort of had a learning experience which can surely be applied on the broadest cultural sense. That was when we started the festival. And in the festival, we started in the first 2 years or 3 years trying to provide for visitors special walks. So it was Jaipur Crafts Walk, the Jaipur Music Walk, the Jaipur cultural experience, showing the range of things, historic buildings, the temple walk. So we started thinking that, because we realized that a visitor coming into a city like Jaipur, how can they access all the wonders that are there? The wonders are locked behind doors. Out of that thinking and out of those first 2 or 3 years came the wonderful workshops project.
So we sort of conceived the idea of running these workshops, bringing designers out from UK to interact with local master craftsmen in all the traditional crafts that were in danger of dying out.
All of us in the workshops have an Indian counterpart that we work with.
These workshops help in sending a message about the kind of work, the kind of input, the kind of labor, the love of labor that goes into making a product.
We have found that over the years since we started the workshops, a lot of people seem to be attracted to the idea of learning something here in Jaipur that is about the community and about about Rajasthan.
Anyone can join and anyone can learn, to a certain level and go away from India with actually a new knowledge.
And it seems to have really snowballed. And now we're finding that more and more people are interested to come and learn.
We chose the crafts because they were the absolutely core crafts that Jaipur was famous for. The dyeing and the stitching. We haven't got a weaving one because weaving isn't a major craft of Jaipur, but it's so famous for its early print work.
This is a very old tradition which we're still trying to keep alive by introducing it to the international and the national market and giving them a hands-on experience. It's a 4 to 5 days workshop where they try different techniques of mud resist printing and dyeing, vegetable dyes, indigo dyeing, kashish dyeing. So it's all a fun class for them, and at the same time it's also a learning experience.
What we do when we first arrive, we show the group a great variety of garments or cushions, furnishings, bags, slippers. Show them a lot of things that have been embellished with lots of different kinds of embroidery or stitch. And so people get a sense of how the embroidery is used within the community here. And has been for a long, long time. There are many, many wonderful small things we can make this week, and with the help of the tailors and the embroiderers, we can all finish a piece in 1 week, which is lovely for them to take away. We also have a wonderful demonstration from the patwawalas, who are the braid makers, who make buttons and braids and little tassels. And we also have a wonderful demonstration from the silver and gold printer. And so all these things add up to a lovely sampler of work, which they may use on their finished piece or they may not, but they've learnt what they've learnt through the week.
The miniature painting is a really core craft tradition of Jaipur. We have asked Olivia Dalrymple, who actually illustrates all her husband's books, and she, with a local master-craftsman he does a lot of work with Fulbright scholarships, scholars from America who come in and study with him. And he is of such a gentle, amazing man, and they use all stone ground. He grinds all the colours that we use on the workshop. It's an extraordinary discipline because it is so different to any free-form drawing or painting that we do in the West. Anyone can do it, actually, if they can just draw. But it is a very sort of tight discipline, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's quite meditative when you're doing it. And people have the most incredible results. The cooking is more of a sort of local lifestyle workshop. It's absolutely fascinating. You learn about all the reasons behind the food they eat at different seasons. And the two ladies also teach you, who are of the ruling family of Diggy, which is the palace that we stay in. And they teach you all about the religious and lifestyle reasons behind the food that they eat. One of the days you go out to the family estate in the country and you learn about a special kind of shikar cooking, which is to do with hunting, where you cook everything in one pot, a sealed pot, so it's all cooked in its own juices. This year we started a photography one, which isn't really a core craft, but actually it's just documenting. And it's been an enormous success, and they've had a wonderful time, and they go out on location every day. We've arranged special places that you don't normally have access to for them to visit. They also have got up at different times. They've gone out very early, or they've gone at sunset. And it's a way of really getting to know Jaipur like a local would. So we do have a full surrounding program for the whole week. One of the days is a major festival where we actually have a celebration lunch. It's the Kite Festival. It's the first day of spring. So we experience that with a traditional lunch in the old city. We also have music every evening, which is provided by the Jaipur Virasat Foundation. We have the young musicians coming up in the really worthwhile traditions that people are trying to conserve. Well, one of the favourite activities of everybody who comes to do these workshops is going shopping in Jaipur, because Jaipur is one of the biggest shopping centres in Rajasthan, and the main products are, of course, jewellery and textiles that are produced here. So people actually buy mountains of goods and ship them home, and they have a wonderful time, and they go rushing off in rickshaws the moment the classes are finished, and find all sorts of extraordinary things. There's carpet weaving, there's of course all the block printing and beautiful silk textiles and made up clothes, jewellery, miniature paintings. I mean, anything that you're antiques, anything that you're interested in, really, you can find here. And absolutely fantastic, endless places you can visit and find these things.
You know, and wonderful workshops has happened because of the wonderful people who have supported it, like Fra and like our experts. Because again, you know, people say, well, why do you need a foreign expert? Well, sharing all of this is about creating bridges. Like I said, you know, to get into, for somebody coming from the outside, to go out to Johota, say, and see block printing or Bagru on their own. I mean, they wouldn't get anything out of it. So you build your bridges, and the supports of your bridges are the people who know. So it's the local person who knows and can communicate, the overseas person who knows and can communicate, the person who brings those together, and the skills and the activity. When you've got all of that, then I think that's really where the richness comes from. So the proof of the pudding, they say, lies in the eating of it, you know. And in the case of the workshops that Fra has been running, I think people have come back 4 years running for a week, 10 days, you know. Now nobody, I mean, your average tourist visiting Jaipur comes in for at the most 2 nights. They're part of a circuit where they look at a building, they look at a monument, they maybe go to a shop, they have a meal somewhere, and that's it pretty much. You know, they maybe have something arranged for them in the hotel, and then they go on to the next place, whether it's the Taj or whether it's the next city, or, you know. So here you've got people who come into Jaipur. They stay in a hotel not for 1 or 2 nights, but for 7 or 8 or 9 nights, and they come back 4 years running. There has to be something right about it, you know.